You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phone. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 19th day of December, 2019. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the screen, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. On the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, not to worry, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live, and there you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds, brought to you by the good folks at YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. All right, let's take a look at an S&P 500 E-mini chart. This sideways business we've been dealing with all week since the Globex Open Sunday night continues. Now, this is Friday the 13th. We actually had some movement there. And then the Globex Open Sunday night would be this red candle here, which puts an unfilled gap underneath us, and that's very unusual. It's bullish, but unusual. So we caught a rally from our alert to be long the S&P 500. We're in the H contract now at 3183. That's been about the best move of the week. We did also say to consider being long 3198 here, and we caught 1, 2, 3, 4 triggers off of that alert. The next alert said to consider being long 3197, and we caught 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alerts off of that trigger. And then we'll get into the alerts from last night later in the show today. I'll cover our Concierge Trade Alerts. That's a static report issued once per session shortly after the Globex Open, sometime between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, most nights. That's based on previous price action. Our other alert, and these two go together like a hand and a glove. Our Logic 247 alerts, we crank that up Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, when Globex opens, and we keep the pedal to the metal until Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, when the markets close. Now, for some folks, trading is a Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4 activity. For us, it's 6 days a week around the clock. The Logic 247 alerts are based on current price action. What we've found is when we blend previous price activity with current price activity, and they both point at the same important area, it almost always deserves a second look. We've made it up to our weekly trading zone at 3204/05. We've been consolidating there for about an hour, a little more. Let's look at a daily chart. That's soybeans. Let me switch that to the S&P. And we'll make that a daily chart. This is the same picture we've been showing you day after day, from the swing low put in back on October 3rd to the swing high, and for a period of time it was the all-time historic high put in on December 2nd. Using math and nothing more, we're approaching a 50% Fibonacci price extension from this low to this high. We're painting another green candle today. What's the probability that we'll actually make it up to 32.23? I would say that it's a high probability. The market's had an awful lot thrown at it of late in the way of the impeachment hearings and other geopolitical events, and the market continues to shrug it off. Now, we know trees don't grow to the sky. There will come a retracement. Will it be severe, like the one we saw in December of last year? Last December was the worst December since 1932. Let me show you just how violent that was. Switching over to a continuous chart so I can show you more data on the same chart right here. the Christmas or the Santa Claus rally was a little late last year. It showed up one day after Christmas, and that's this big green candle right here. December the 26th. Worst December since 1932, setting the stage for, now you got to understand it, that going into Christmas, worst December since 1932, this was way past somebody yelling fire in the theater. Not only was everyone rushing for the exits, most people had already left the parking lot. And that's typically when the market will turn. When everybody sees nothing but blood in the streets, there is no hope. It quite often leads to this. Probably the most incredible bull run in history. Markets are up 50% since brainchild Mark Cuban said that if President Trump was elected, the markets would basically cease to exist. But yet here we are at 50%. NASDAQ up 70%. NASDAQ putting in new all-time highs today. Now, everything I said about this, when the market becomes overly pessimistic, when everyone just gives up hope, throws in the towel, leaves the building, leaves the parking lot. So, what happens when there's too much exuberance? And some would say, well, is there anything as too much? Well, it's kind of like overbought and oversold. Those are terms that don't really use because a market can stay overbought or oversold by the technical definition, and depending upon which indicators you use, or oscillators. The market can stay overbought for a very long time. That's why we don't use those type of indicators. It is a high probability that the market will turn in this area or this area based purely on a mathematical equation from the 14th century. If that happens, where do we end up? Well, if we do a Fibonacci retracement, not an extension, if we go from that important swing low, and let's say we do make it up to that 50% extension. Not saying we can't go further, but if we do make it there, and if we do turn at that point, the shallowest potential retracement would be the 24% retracement right here. Now let's put our indicator on. We are already above that 24% Fibonacci retracement. We could see a potential pullback to the BBC, another bounce to go up and challenge the high, at which point we then fulfill the pullback to the 24, the 38, the 50, and yes, the 62. And the 62 is not out of the question, because this all-time high followed by this almost all-time high is calling. It's like a siren song. So we'll keep an eye on all of those numbers, and as long as you follow us, you'll stay up to date on where the market is and where the next high probability move is going to come from. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets. We'll start here in the US. Currently, the Dow is up 109 points. NASDAQ is up 46. S&P 500 up 11. And the Russell 2000 up 3. In the commodity basket, Crude oil is up 42 cents, trading 61.35 last. Gold up $4.10, trading 14.8280 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a loss of 70 points. Shanghai closed flat. The Hang Seng dropped 83. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE posted a gain of 33 points. The DAX dropped 10. The CAC gained 12. So that gives us a mixed day in Asia. It's a mixed day in the UK. And so far, it's not a big green Radio Thursday here in the US of A, but it is a green day. And we'll take that. Let's go to Michael and get a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Today is a Thursday, and so Dr. Tom will be joining us at the top of the hour. Between now and then, we'll talk with John, and we'll take a look at the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. We'll have a look at Logic 247 and how that's performed so far this week. All that and more when I return. Michael, I've got your charts. It's all yours.
All right. Excellent. All right, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 19th day of December, 2019. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the home page here at CFRN.net. And in the right-hand column, it says 5-day free trial applied.cfrn.net. Click on that, and you will be brought to this page, EminiTradingSchool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Hit the Register Now button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click on the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so you got to do that, all right? And as Dwayne was saying, these markets, when you're getting up to new all-time highs, a lot of times the markets are just going to be a mess, and they sure were today. It seems in the half hour, well, in the last hour, we'll say, since the European markets closed, there's a little more action. It was a little bit more tradable, but this morning it was just a mess. And I will illustrate that by showing you our spreadsheet. If it will let me. Hang on, I'm trying to drag my browser and pull it over for you. There it goes. Okay. So today we made today it's the 19th day of December 2019. As I told you, and if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we made 4 ticks in the euro. We lost 7 ticks in crude and lost 8 ticks in gold. That put us at minus 125 on the day, so it's a red day. We only had 5 trades this morning. This is our lowest month of the year by far, and we have 6 trading days left. Hopefully there's going to be some kind of action to get that up a bit, maybe double, but 847.50 is where we are right now on the month, and on the year 34,682. So for 231 trading days, averaging 150 per day. 150 per day. Okay, now let's go and look at what did or didn't happen. All right, in gold, our first trade was right here, and we stopped out pretty much to the tick, and then it took off and did what it should have done. The next one was a break-even trade right here, and that eventually did what it should have done and went up, but this is when the European markets closed, and so there would have been a trade in here, right about here is where the trade would have been. One there, and one there, and one more right there. So we would have had 3 nice trades here had we traded from 11:30 to 12:30. And the morning session, well, it is what it is. If you look at the YBR, when the YBR is blue, if you get it up close after a blue YBR, that usually works out pretty well. Okay. And if you get a down close after a red YBR, that usually works out pretty well. But that was the morning session in gold. In the euro was the best looking market today, believe it or not. We picked up 4 ticks right here on that one. And then it turned around and came all the way down here, put in a new swing low. And I tried to get into this, but I didn't fill. And it had gone quickly into 4 ticks in profit. So I had to take the order off. It would have been a break-even trade had I done it. This one here, I just missed. And, you know, it ended up being a profitable trade. Since then, let's see. There would have been a long trade right here. And it's setting up another long trade right now. This bar has a low of 895. So it's going to have a high of 915, I think, right? Yeah, 895. So it's going to have a high of 915. If we get an up close there at 915, that would be a long opportunity. And crude oil. Let's see. On crude. We stopped out on the first one right here, and then it got really choppy and sideways for a little while, for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then it started to move up. We took a long trade right there, got 1 tick profit on that, and failed to put in a higher swing. So we couldn't trade until we put the higher swing in. And then this was toward the end of the session here. Sadly, the cycle was going down too steep to take the long trade here. Okay, end here. During the break, there really wasn't anything that you could do. You could have taken a short right here, and you know, you may still be in it, but it probably would have been a break-even trade for me. Again, the YBR, blue and blue, and red and down close, and blue and blue, blue and blue, blue and blue. Just something to think about. The ES was total trash this morning. From here, you know, and I have this highlighted, but 201.50 up to 204. This would have been a break-even trade had I gotten into it. This right here would also have been a break-even trade probably. And that was all there was on the ES this morning. During the break, really nothing. You know, when we were pushing the high of the day up and pushing the high of the day up and pushing the high of the day up as we're approaching the weekly trading zone. And then once we got this close to the weekly trading zone right in here, I was saying, you know, we're too close to the weekly trading zone to take a trade. And so we didn't. Okay. And that's that. Now, I'll bring the spreadsheet back up. We'll take a quick look at it again. And I'll change the color on the day because it was a red day. Today, the 19th day of December 2019, we made 4 ticks in the euro. We lost 7 ticks in crude and lost 8 ticks in gold. Put us at minus 125 on the morning session. Took 5 trades to do it. On the month now, we're at 847. That's over 14 days. On the year, we're at 34,682. That's over 231 days, averaging 150 per day. Okay, 150 per day. Now, what was I going to do? Oh, okay. I got to go back to the other browser. Here it is. Okay. If you want to take a free trial with us and you haven't taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. Over here in the right-hand column, it says 5-day free trial apply.cfrn.net. Click on that, and you'll be brought to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Click register now. Once you hit register now, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay? If you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so you got to do that. All right? All right. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready to take it. Okay. It sounds like Dwayne is not ready to take it yet. But that's okay. We'll just watch what's going on in here. All right. Now, right here, you would draw your trend line like that. and that close right there on the trend line would have been a long opportunity. Okay. What did I say it was? It ended up being, on this bar right here, it ended up being, because the low of the bar was at 1880, the high of the bar was at 1900. So the current bar, what we anticipate is that this green line is going to turn up and get up into the cycle. Now, if you go back and look at some of the moves that well, let's look at gold, for instance, because it had some during the break. When the green line gets away from the cycle like this, you anticipate that it's going to go back up into it, okay? And when the green line stops pulling back deeper than the prior pullback, that indicates the market is slowing down and losing momentum, okay? Is Devin in here? I don't think so. No. Okay. All right. But anyway, while we wait for Dwayne to come back, I'll show you more stuff on the ES. The ES was just total garbage in here during all this. But the one opportunity we did have, which was over here, the green line had pulled away from the cycle. And this was in the pre-market. Actually, it wasn't, but the green line pulled away, but it would have been a momentum trade. If we did anything with it, it would have been a momentum trade. And you can't do that into dynamic resistance that has not been broken. And that is that for the ES. Now, you see here, see when the green line pulls back like this and it gets all the way down into the cycle, like it did over here, and you don't have a lower swing, that indicates weakness. Okay. Like this one here, where it pulled this far back and it started moving up. When it got up into the cycle right here, we should have had, a much higher high. That just indicates the markets are just very weak. Like right here, you see when it started here and it got up into the cycle there, we had a nice higher high on that leg. When it started here and it got up into the cycle here, we didn't have a higher high, indicating that the markets were weak. You see? So the slingshot's giving you a lot of information. See right here down to here. Yeah, it's giving you a lot of information, but you just got to know how to look at it and how to use that information when you make your decision whether or not to place a trade. Now, I try to place every trade that qualifies. I do my best to place every trade that qualifies, but well, sometimes, when, like, let's look at the ones that stopped out today. Gold, for instance. This one right here, when it pulled back, we had good separation down here. The MA1 started going against us, but we got 3 ticks in profit on it, so I couldn't move my stop to break even just yet. Then it came down and it stopped me out. And by the time the green line got into the cycle, we were below our entry point there. And it took it forever, but it did eventually get up here and put in a higher high. But it was just a 1 tick higher high, indicating weakness. And then it got really sideways again for a while. So the markets are just messy today. And if you don't have to trade, you probably shouldn't, is my opinion. And Dwayne's still not back. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I'm here.
Well,
I'm ready. And sorry I'm late. And recap of the recap.
That's okay. We had a red day today.
Okay.
We had 5 trades and we were minus 125 on the morning session.
Okay. Well, that's the truth about trading.
It is. It is.
when we have a slow day, a rough day, an off day, whatever kind of day you want to call it, we don't sweep it under the carpet. Because if you start sweeping stuff up under the carpet, you're bound to trip on it at some point.
Eventually.
So it's better to just deal with the reality of the situation as it occurs and as it happens. Okay.
All areas of life.
Again, today is Thursday, so looking for Dr. Tom to join us top of the hour. John, if you're listening in, you might want to jump in sooner than later, so you'll have an opportunity to share whatever it is you would like to share.
He's not out in the audience right now.
Yeah, I haven't talked with him this morning. So
Okay.
let us take a look at a recap so far this week of Logic 247. And this will highlight really what Michael was just talking about, how quiet the markets have been as we sort of tread water here at these all-time historic highs. We're in week 72 of Logic 247. We've only issued 24 alerts this week. 8 of them never triggered. I gave us 16 actionable alerts. So far, we don't have anything stopped out. With Logic, I don't post anything. I don't post an alert unless I see true opportunity in the market. And, you know, some would say, well, there's always opportunity. And I guess to a degree that's true. You can always click the mouse. But if you just click the mouse willy-nilly, you probably won't be able to have 16 trades with nothing stopped out. That's also the truth about trading. So what we share via the alerts, both Concierge and Logic, is simply the very best work that we know how to do. And typically we experience about 20% of our alerts in Logic being stopped out each week. This week isn't over, so we'll see how we end up for the week. But after 72 weeks, that is the number, 20% on average. Okay, now while we're on the subject of Logic, let's just look at those real quick and then we'll go to the Concierge. Here we go. Okay, last week, week 71, we had a total of 47 alerts. I think the most alerts we've had in any one week from Sunday to Friday, it was about 100. One week the markets were exceptionally active, and I also reached into some of the markets that we don't typically follow all the time, at least I don't, like the pound and the euro and others. Speaking of the pound, I want to take this chart here real quick, and I want to make it a British pound, and I want to make it a monthly chart. Let me get rid of everything else. Okay, monthly. Oh, I need to go. There we go. Continuous chart so we can get more data. Now, I've been watching this for a while. We had a potential head and shoulders sitting up in the pound. Shoulder, shoulder, head. And the neckline remains down here unbroken. And based upon the election and the recent developments in the UK, things should turn up for the pound. This is where we are on the monthly candle. Okay, if we can get a monthly candle to open and close on the other side of the BBC, our narrative will change. For now, I can only say be careful, because something about this feels fragile to me. Let's look at it on a weekly. On the weekly, it is starting to look bullish. Now, as we ran into this obstacle here, we got some resistance to be expected. If we can trade above that, the next obstacle is going to be right there, based on the bearish cross. I know we don't have a lot of pound traders, but if you do trade the pound, just exercise. You should always exercise caution. Maybe exercise a little extra. Now back to logic. So far this week, week 72. This was Sunday night. And Sunday night we only had 5 alerts, 6. Which is there have been Sunday nights when we have as many alerts on Sunday night as we've had all week this week. There's Monday, Tuesday, and as things tightened up, I haven't put anything out since yesterday at 9:29 a.m. Eastern. And I won't until I see some true opportunity develop. And just because I'm waiting, just because I'm being patient, just because I'm waiting for opportunity to present itself, when it does present itself, that doesn't mean it's going to be a slam dunk, a hole in one, or that I'm going to knock it out of the park. You got to remember, the minute that you make it about anything more than a probability, your goose is cooked. You're finished, and you will not succeed as a trader. You will not be consistently profitable. Your desire to become a trader will not become a career if you ever base it on anything more than a probability. Being patient, waiting, that's discipline, but it in no way guarantees any success down the road. So let's take a look at last night's Concierge Trade Alerts. And if you would like to grab a screenshot, you can. They were late coming out last night, 10:25 p.m. Eastern. There we go. There's the whole shooting match. We've also rolled crude forward to the G contract. All the indices have been rolled to the H. All right. So we'll start with the S&P. I already pointed out Sunday night's alerts, Monday night's alerts, Tuesday night's alerts. Now on Tuesday night I said there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triggers. But as you can see, if I extend the line across, we could clearly see there was 6, 7, 8 off of 31.97. Now in a sideways quiet market, it is possible to find trade opportunities. But as Michael said, unless you have a real good handle on what you're doing, unless you have some time and experience in the markets, a market like this is really best left alone until it starts to move, until it starts to have some rhythm, some legs and some retracements. Just treading sideways, dangerous. So on the S&P, we said to consider being long 3207, and it looks like we walked right up to it and backed off. That's exactly what happened. We put in a high at 3208 and a quarter. From the previous alert at 3197, again, quite a few triggers. It was tempting to just, lay something out right in the same area. But I wanted to see if the market could do anything, if it could potentially take us up to this weekly trading zone from last week. That was our highest weekly zone last week, 3220/21. And the short side of that was 3192. And we have not seen that. Pretty quiet. For the Dow, the alert said to consider being long 28,310, and that's going to be right here. $28,310. Okay, the first move took us up about 10 points. The Dow pays $5 a point. S&P 500 pays $50 a point. And Michael and I agree that the way we want to solve the market equation is not with more points, because as this flat market clearly shows us, more points aren't always available. What is always available is more contracts. So a $50 move with 10 contracts could become $500. It can also become a $500 loss if you're on the wrong side of the trade. From 28,310, we put in a swing high at 395. So that's an 85-point move, which is, we'll call it $400 per contract. A little more than that. On the short side, 28,230, no trigger there. Now, should something happen during today's session, should the market come unglued and decide to drop, these numbers that are published each evening, they're good for the entire session. And as you just saw, well, you can see it here on the Dow, and as I just went over on the S&P, multiple triggers are not are to be expected. That's just what happens. We see these alerts trigger multiple times during a session. If it's a strong directional day, you might only have one opportunity. Just looking at this chart, the high probability from where I sit would be for price to get back below the trigger again, because we've got this area of support right below us, this weekly trading zone. And this weekly trading zone tells us something about the condition of the market when price oscillates above and below, and above and below, and above and below, and above and below. That's just not a good market to be trading. Just when you think it's time to go long, well, you've been there. You know what that's like. Let's look at the Russell. Not much different. We did run up to this week's weekly trading zone at 1671, where we found good resistance, as we would expect. The alert last night was to consider being long 1667, which is right here. Okay, Michael, can you open
Yep,
John's
I'll
mic?
open them up.
Okay.
Yep.
Guys, we'll pick up with this after we talk with John and after we talk with Dr. Tom. John, welcome to the show.
This mic's open.
Okay.
Sorry, thanks for letting me on. Thanks for letting me on. I just wanted to come on to say as quickly as I can because I meant to come on earlier, but I got distracted. Look, there's the things that's going on today that's really important is the silver and gold are really, I actually, they went from a bit negative overnight to going positive this morning. And I was thinking to myself, we've got another $40 move to the upside coming. And that's a strong motivator to be long. And I think the answer is yes. And the gold stocks are acting similarly right now, as is the silver stocks and everything. So I think this is it. I think we're on our way, and we could have a strong rally into the end of the year. As I've been commenting for a while, the cotton, lumber is hitting new highs, new like 6-month highs or something today. Copper's up again. It's looking very good. The Fed is doing a reflation here, and this is potentially the biggest reflation they've ever done because there's another $500 billion supposedly going to come into the markets in the next 15 days or so. This is just like totally unprecedented. There's never been anything like it. And while the immediate impact has been a melt up in the market, I think there's a risk of this. Look, there's a little bit of a downturn developing here. You sort of got it was a hard market to buy this morning because you just don't know whether they're going to slam the market up to yesterday's news or move it up again. And as it turns out, they moved it up, but it's not going up in leaps and bounds. It's really a fairly subdued rally. I mean, we're up 5 or 6 points in the S&P. We're up 65 on the Dow. We're up 28 on the NASDAQ. They're not setting the world on fire. And Apple, which is a very important leader right now today, is actually down. And if you look at the chart, it's got a kind of a double top on it, developing from yesterday, which I think is pretty ominous looking, frankly, because Apple is a very, very highly valued company right now. And it is, getting into sort of Mount Everest levels here. It's really incredible how high this.
Let's take a look at it here.
Yeah. So there's a lot of risk. You see how it's sort of rolling over there a bit? I'm not saying it won't go higher. It could, but if it were to roll over from here and maybe gap down, that would be kind of an eye on top. So, and for the benefit of everybody who's listening, all your loyal followers, I think the key to success in today's markets is to be more robotic. You have to act like a robot. You just can't. I mean, if anything, this impeachment deal has taught us, it is you can't get your head in the way of the market. In other words, just because there's an impeachment thing going on, you think the market might sell off, and I did. I thought I didn't. I kind of got with the trend as soon as it appeared we were going to hire, and even today, we talked about it yesterday with Garrett. It's not the top yet, that's for sure. But we've got to be careful because remember, last year the market topped out in August, September, partially, and it finally topped out on October the 2nd. That was when Jamal Khashoggi was killed. That was the day that everything started falling apart. The Saudis potentially set off the sell-off because they may have decided to just liquidate ahead of the fallout. And when they realized what a stupid thing they did, and then the rest of it was a real wipeout move going into which ended on the day after Christmas. So, right now we are rallying into Christmas still, and that's normal. That's what should happen. Christmas rally, Santa Claus rally. But be careful of right after Christmas, because if we reverse,
we could see a reversal of what we saw last Christmas.
Last year, exactly, a pivot. And there's a lot of risk going into the end of the year, because, this is what happened in 2016. We started faltering in the final few days of the year, and that's next week. Not next week, the week after, but it is pretty close in terms of trading days. And because of the mid-year being in the middle of the week, you got Monday, Tuesday, I think, are basically it. So if we start seeing Monday and Tuesday failing, and you start to see the VIXs going up, you might want to be positioned for possible, not necessarily a strong opening of the new year. You have to be ready for that, but you have to kind of weigh all the possibilities that could happen, because in 2016, the opening bell rang, and it was like down from the opening bell. There wasn't even a rally before they started pummeling the markets, and the markets got clobbered real bad. So I think the volatility could increase a lot. There is obviously some sort of an impasse going on here with the Senate that could turn into a much bigger deal and more contentious going into the new year. And while it's a rubber stamp right now for Trump, you never know, something could change, and everything could go upside down. So you have to be mindful of the possibility of that happening, or anything else for that matter. I think that there's, when the market gets into this, we could still go parabolic. We could just barrel away all, into the new year. Remember, we're going into a new decade. There's a lot of positives as well. So we just have to take it day by day. But the reason I'm sort of saying, if I'd followed every single signal I got here since, since I had this new system in place, I'd be up very, very substantially. I'd be coining, we'd be making, 5% a day, 3, 4, 5% a day, something like that, pretty consistently. And but in order to do that, you really have to just like you do, you have your buys and sell points, and you're probably executed long based on your order last night, right? On this rally this morning.
On the S&P, no, we walked right up to my trigger, and the market backed off.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
it tiptoed up. It tiptoed up to the line. I'll put it up right here. This is how quiet the market has been. We caught this move up Sunday night, and then on Monday night signal,
we've got
right
this
here.
Here's Tuesday. Incredible sideways consolidation, and it is starting to break out now.
And I encourage everyone to be cautious with this, because it may be. Well, we'll
could be a fake out.
It
could be a fake out.
Could be.
Yeah, or a head fake. Now you've got that highest weekly trade zone from last week. That's very important. So, when you get these long consolidations, it usually means there's a very big move coming. So you want to be trying to be prepared for that. But I was actually thinking the same thing this morning when we were down near the lows after kind of a sloppy overnight session. Mm-hmm. And where there was a bit of a reaction to the impeachment thing. It was you really didn't know earlier on today whether it was going to tank or whether it was going to go higher. And when it started to go higher, I think people sort of said, well, it's going higher, it must be going up because it's already got over the deal. And mm-hmm. That's really, from when you put your head in the way, that's the head fake. But if I'd just taken the signal, we'd be up 50 points on the NASDAQ right now from the lows, which is $1,000 for the day, So I'm going to be very, very, and it's the same with the gold. we're just hitting new highs right now on the gold, and I think the gold is gearing up for a kind of a runaway move here to the upside. We're clearly breaking the downtrend of that, if you can put it on the daily, Dwayne. And you see how it tested overnight. You know, you had that spike, and then a pullback, and then this little thing this morning. Same sort of thing happened with Microsoft, and you know, Microsoft looks pretty good. It got a good buy on Microsoft at 154.5 this morning. It's up to 155 right now. Not setting the world on fire yet, but it looks like it could actually take another leg to the upside, another pretty big leg to the upside.
Here comes gold on. Let me put it on daily.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's got to get up. It's got to get up to sort of 1485, 90. It's got to get up to 1500. It's got to take, you know, you start breaking back above 1500, it could really accelerate. Now, looking at that chart, I would have to.
This is our monthly. This is our monthly zones on gold, John. And look at how many. These are 4-hour candles. Look at how long we've been inside of this little 5-point range here, 1480 to 1485.
Right.
And the
Well,
next
look, there-
the next point overhead is, I think you just said 1500.
Right, but you know, it does look like it wants to break out.
It does,
here
yeah.
above
No,
that.
I think I agree.
And that would be great if it does. But there is, when you're looking at the chart a minute ago, the daily that you had, there is a kind of a risk of maybe one more test. You see if it tested one more time down to 1440. We could be looking at that before the year is out, just to put a nice double bottom on it, and then go from there. If you could put the silver up, let's see comparatively how the silver looks.
Okay. There's silver on the daily.
They're pretty similar. They're pretty similar. You know, what would do it for me, because we have what I call a positive divergent buy signal, is if we did just have 1 or 2 day down on the gold and test the lows, and the silver did not make a new low, say it only got down to 16.8, and then went up, that would be just, that would do it for me. Because when the silver doesn't make a lower low against the gold, it's really, usually it precedes a pretty big rally. And as you can see, we're just on the point of breaking out here.
Yeah, if we can break that trend line, then we have, you know, an obstacle here at 1740, and then again, we got a pretty clear shot at a run up to 18.
Right.
And we got to struggle through that to get to 18 and a half. And
yeah, I mean, look, you saw the end of May bottom there, and the rally we've had. I mean, we really rocketed higher on the silver. Most people didn't see it getting up as high as it got, 19 and a half. That was our target, and it's, you know, it's had a pretty strong pullback. But the next move, all being well, it should be proportional to the correction. These little, you see, we had a series of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we had a sort of a third wave, and then this pullback. The next up leg should take us, you know, a measured move. So from basically it's a $5 move, should take us from, you know, from here to 22 and a half, 23, maybe even 24 on the silver. And it could happen pretty quick. You know, this thing could happen in the next 6 months. So, and I was looking at these numbers again yesterday on the, you know, 4 years out. They're just amazing. I mean, we're over 30 trillion now on the debt in 4 years' time. 30 trillion, 2023. Wow. And that's to me is where the bottom cycle, the cycle low in the dollar comes in 2023. So, you know, if we do break down,
we've got GDP numbers coming out tomorrow morning at 8:30.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing that could move the gold and silver just in that spike. You know, there could be a reaction, either positive or negative. You just have to wait and see which way it goes. But it's you know,
we got the UK GDP at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, and then we have ours at 8:30.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind bringing up a few of these, the coffee is pulling back pretty sharply. You just got to wait until it kind of bottoms out before probably going back long. It's obviously having a bigger correction than expected. Hang on a sec.
That's end of day data. Let's see if we can do any better. And that's non-existent. That's probably why we don't trade a lot of coffee. We don't have a decent chart. Coffee. Anyway, all right. The NQ, alongside of the NQ is 86.50, and the short side. Let me check and see, is Dr. Tom here? I don't see him. Now I'm trying to remember if he told me he was going to be off today. He may have, I don't recall. All right, so let's just go ahead and move on through this. Okay, so the NQ, long side 86.50, short side 85.90. Remember, these numbers are good through the end of the session. They're actually good until the new numbers are released tonight. Crude. Last night on crude, and we are in the G contract now, considering long 60.95. $60.95. We've put in a high at 61.40, so that's $450 per contract. The short side on crude was 60.65. And I already marked up the gold chart. So we've covered the S&P. Okay, I just got a message from Valerie that Dr. Tom's having a problem getting logged in, so he's going to try to call in.
I'm on the line now.
Hey, Dr. Tom, how are you?
Hey. Apparently, I've been
Excellent.
and wouldn't let me log in to the webinar, so I'm calling you on the phone.
Okay. Did you have, was it a password issue or a link issue? Or?
No, everything says it's working. It says you're connecting, and then it doesn't. So, go figure.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
well, no problem.
How have you been?
I've been doing fine. How about yourself?
Doing good. Doing good.
Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you. We will be off next week.
Okay, and then back on next year.
Well, actually, I mean, we'll be off. We'll be off Christmas
So, as far as
Eve
I'm
and
concerned,
Christmas
next year.
Eve, Christmas Day. And what day does Christmas fall on? Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
So I'm trying to remember what Michael said. I think we're actually going to be here Thursday and Friday next week. I think we'll be off Tuesday,
We got-
Wednesday.
We have a bunch of people coming in, so I won't be able to be here next.
No, I understand.
Thursday.
No.
But I will see you next year on the 2nd.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Spend some quality time with the family. That's important. Now, typically you have some charts or things or presentation that you want to show. Is there anything you want to discuss in particular today, or that you can't get logged
Well,
in?
I thought I'd finish up what we talked about last week, unless you wanted to do something else.
No, that's fine. I just didn't know if you'd be able to without your PowerPoint, or yeah, absolutely, let's do it.
Oh yeah, I have took a special course, and now I can talk without PowerPoint.
So how's the Bible college?
It's going great. We're really having a good time. Very enthusiastic people. And I bought all my. I think I told you I was singing the Handel's Messiah last week.
Yes, you did.
Well, I bought all of our students that were able to come free tickets free to them, not free to me. But I bought them all tickets to go to the Messiah, and they were just like,
Nice.
wow, we thought it was going to be some stuffy old symphony kind of stuff. But it's great because the Messiah, every word in it is scripture.
Is it?
That's what's cool about it.
Hmm.
It's an hour and a half of scripture from all throughout the Bible, and it's powerful. I mean, you could get saved just listening to it.
Amazing. I don't think I've ever. I've never attended a presentation or production of Handel's
Well, just
Messiah.
Put in Messiah in your county and see if there's some place where it's being performed this week, because chances are it is. It's the most performed piece of Christian music in the world.
Phoenix Symphony. Handel's Messiah and the Phoenix Symphony.
Wow. Together, that'd be great.
Handel's Messiah at the Mesa Arts Center. Oh, the Phoenix Symphony is going to perform it there as well, I guess. Phoenix
Wanna go?
Symphony and chorus. Yeah, maybe I'll take the family. Handel's Messiah on the calendar
Definitely
here.
worth your while. Definitely worth your time.
This one's already happened. This was at Paradise Valley United Methodist Church. Now that's interesting. It's a $59 ticket at a church event. Sometimes, contemporary Christian artists do perform in some of the larger churches here in the valley,
But I think it's
but they're
more
usually
probably
pretty
symphony.
affordable. Yeah.
Yeah, like this was the 41st year that our chorus has done this at the same church.
Here's $20 tickets.
The choir doesn't get paid, but the people from the Palm Beach Symphony are all professional musicians, and they're in the union.
Mm-hmm.
So tickets are $25, and almost all of that goes to the musicians.
Gotcha.
And we have to pay dues. We have to pay $100 a year dues to be able to sing. Plus, we have to buy our own tuxedos and all this kind of thing. But
So
it's
you
worth
had to
it.
wear a monkey suit. Okay.
Not just a monkey suit. I was wearing tails, man.
Oh, tails. Monkey with a tail.
I was looking fine.
How do people learn more about the Bible College, the opportunity? Have you put up a website or anything, or do people just, if they have an interest, do they contact you directly?
They could go to mycbcs.com.
Okay, tell me again now.
My
Mm-hmm.
and then CBCS. That's Covenant Bible College and Seminary. CB as in boy, CS.
CS.com.
.com. Yeah, and they can do two things. We've got 40 campuses worldwide, some in Africa, some in Asia, some in the United States. And if there's a campus close to it, they can go and attend. But also, if there's not, they can talk to their pastor, or if they're the pastor, and see about hosting a campus right at their own church. That's one way we're able to keep it so cheap. I mean, $700 or $800 an hour per credit hour to go to college on most campuses, including Christian campuses, Christian colleges. And even online, it costs $200, $300, sometimes $400 an hour for online training. This is in classroom training with, highly qualified instructors, and they only pay $50 a credit hour. So it's pretty neat.
This is interesting, yeah. Agnes mentioned to me, or asked me to mention to you, that I think you had talked with her brother about possibly being able to attend. Her brother's in South Africa.
Yeah, I never spoke with him, but I did speak with her, and I told her, I was just getting started with the college then, but I know a lot more about it. I've actually been elected the academic dean for the entire international college system. So I'm in charge of the curriculum for the college now.
Congratulations. So, educational requirements, I guess you have to be a high school graduate. Anything beyond that?
Or GED, and then depending if they have an AA, they can start 2 years advanced, start working toward a bachelor's. And they can go all the way from associates. Well, actually, they can start at just a 1 year biblical studies course and just learn a lot about the Bible. They wouldn't get a degree, just a diploma, but that's a whole lot more than they can get in a typical church. And then there's associates, and then bachelors, and all the way up to doctorate.
How does the ministry life experience? I'm looking at that on the big screen now. How does that work?
Well, what to do is the pastors from other churches love to send students to this, because the students are required to go back to their church and do 2 hours of volunteer work every week. And so that's 72 hours total, and they get 3 college credits for that. So we take 1 course a month, and you get 3 credits, per course. And you go to school 9 months out of the year, so that's 27 credits, and the other 3 credits, because it's 30 credits a year to in most any college. Come from
I see on the screen here it says that a student may submit a resume detailing, upon approval and receipt of a one-time deposit, will be awarded up to 30 credit hours. How many credit hours are required for the various degrees?
Well, I say it's $30 credits per year.
Per year.
So 30 credits would be a diploma. 60 credits would be an associate's degree.
Okay.
120 bachelor's, and then another 36 hours beyond that for a master's.
Gotcha.
But they do what they call MLE, Ministry Life Experience. Now, it's not a guaranteed 30 hours. I mean, you have to be able to document the experience.
Sure.
Have other people attest to it and so on. But it's a fully accredited college. So if you get your bachelor's or master's or whatever, it's just the same as if you go into any other Bible college or seminary, except you can do it right there in your own town. And if your town doesn't have one, probably the best thing would be you get my telephone number. Just have them contact you, and you get my phone number.
Okay.
And I can talk to the pastor.
Hey guys, anyone that has an interest, just send an email to support@cfrn.net, and Valerie will route that right over to Dr. Tom, and he'll give you a call. Just be sure to include your telephone number, and he'll give you a call.
it's a great organization, and they have a real heart for missions. I know you would love them because you have a heart for missions. But what they do is even though the cost is very low, the church keeps most of the money. It sponsors Bible college for the tuition, and pay for their rent and electricity and all that. And the portion that goes to the main college, they use all of that for setting up free missionary Bible colleges, because that's the only way the world's going to be evangelized. If we wait for the preachers and the missionaries to do it, it's never going to happen. But if you train a lot of native pastors, people that are nationals in the different countries, then it's much less expensive. It costs 10 times as much to support an American missionary as it does to help out a local pastor, as you will do.
Yeah.
So we're spoiled, in America. We can't stay in a building without air conditioning. Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we are spoiled. We have it real good. We sure do. And I encourage everyone listening to this program, if you've never been on a true missions trip, but maybe you've thought about it or kind of feel like it's something God would want you to do, I'm pretty sure he would want you to do that. So we certainly have an opportunity available at New Hope Orphanage in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa. We have built some housing on the campus where the orphanage and school is. So any ministry teams that come, in fact, I'll put that up on the screen for a second. It's a life-changing experience to go and to work and to live and eat and just become ingrained with the people. You take a part of that home with you that there's no words that can describe the experience. And I mean the experience, the journey starts when you go to get your passport, and then you wait for that to come in the mail if you don't already have one, and then you got to go to the doctor and you got to get your yellow fever shot. I don't know if there's any other ones you have to get these days to travel to Uganda, but definitely got to get the yellow fever, and then you got to get the malaria medication. You start taking that a couple of weeks before you leave. You take it while you're there, and then
don't be scaring people off.
Well, I'm just better they hear from me.
How does it work? Do you take a group over at certain times of the year, or do people just go any time of the year they want to? Do you lead these delegations, or how does it work?
Well, we've got a group leaving next. They were going to leave next spring, but they're going to leave next fall. They'll be departing from Phoenix, and I don't have the dates in front of me. I won't be on that trip. My wife will be, my pastor will be, and quite a few folks from our local church. So if a person wanted to go, they could just contact me. I'll put you in touch with Pastor Chris, Pastor Agnes, and we've sent enough groups over that the process has really kind of been streamlined. I mean, the first time that we went back in 2003, I think it was 2003, the first time we went, we were kind of we were learning. Pastor Chris and Agnes, they were learning. They were learning how to help people, get booked and how to receive them. And back then we didn't have any quarters for people to stay at on the actual orphanage grounds. We stayed at the Namarimbi guest house, which that in and of itself was just an incredible experience. It's a Christian facility, sort of a resort type, but quite humble, built up on the side of the mountain, overlooking the city. And boy, you could sit out on that porch in the mornings, have a cup of coffee, watch the sun come up. And yes, that is the Muslim call to prayer that you hear echoing out across the city. And I have no idea what they're saying, and I won't get into any theological debates. But just sitting there listening to it is very stirring. You know, there's only one God, and my ears heard that call to prayer. It was my call to prayer for the God that I serve. So I'm looking here.
The only true God.
The only, yeah. I thought we had, oh yeah, about the guest house. Here it is. So guys, those of you that can see my screens, I know you can't right now, Dr. Tom. The guest house. This was built specifically for people coming on mission trips, because the it used to be the drive from the Namarimbi guest house to the orphanage, even though it was only about 20 miles away. It was like about an hour and a half grueling journey over these. Well, it's actually, it was a lot of potholes connected by little patches of road. So, but now the government has actually paved that road. And when we first, when we bought the first piece of land there, the 5 acres, it was jungle. Jungle's probably not the right word, but I got a picture of Chris just standing there under all this growth. And so we had to go in, and I didn't personally, but we had people go in and had to machete it down and smooth it out. And, you know, we started with one very humble little building. And the 5 acres has grown into about 25 acres now. And this has happened over a 20-year period of time. Let's see, I don't know if this link takes
So what do the people do when they go over there? What kind of ministries do they perform and so on?
Sometimes there's building projects there at the orphanage. Most of the people want to spend time with the kids, so there's a lot of teaching. And it's just, you know, whatever there's a need for, whatever's going on at any given time at the orphanage, people just kind of just flow right into that. And some groups come with their own idea of what it is they want to do. Maybe they want to build a structure, you know, leave some kind of lasting impression. Maybe they have some curriculum that they want to teach, which of course that's got to be approved. I mean, it's just amazing to me, even looking at this website now, how far we've come. Again, we had to machete our way in there to start building. As I'm looking at this web page, we have DSTV satellite with multiple channel selection, free fast Wi-Fi. And that's, God, if you could only have been there in 2003. And we brought in electricity, and boy, was that an expensive venture. And we had to cross all kinds of different people's land to get the power in. And of course, they would give us permission to cross their land as long as we, you know, allowed them to tap into the electricity. So that rural area really became a thriving area, because we dug a well, and so there was clean drinking water available. We brought electricity. What we didn't know, because we were kind of new at this, is you accumulate all of your land before you start doing your improvements. Because, you know...
But then everybody else wants the land around you.
Well, what happened is, I mean, we bought our 5 acres at a really great price. But once we brought in electricity and water, well, all the land surrounding us, the price, you know, went up a lot.
That's what happened to Disney in California. You know, they built their park, and then they wanted to expand it, and all of a sudden the land was super expensive. So they came into Orlando here, and they secretly bought land. They bought it through lawyers and different groups and cutouts and so on, and accumulated 10 times the amount of land they had in California, and got it for far less money. Because, you know, if they let it be known that a Disney was going in there, price of land would have doubled, tripled. You know, so you learn as you go, right?
You do, and I wouldn't. There's been a lot of struggles. Just the cultural differences, and well, you know yourself from being a pastor. Churches are hotbeds for all kinds of turmoil and stuff, and overcoming that in the local church is one thing, but overcoming all of the obstacles, at a distance, it's a challenge. And obviously, if God had not orchestrated it, we would have, by our own hands, we would have done nothing. We'd still be standing there with a machete in our hand, looking at all this growth and wondering what to do next. But when God sends you on a mission, He'll also send provision. If you find yourself on a mission and you don't have provision, you need to hit the pause button and have a talk with God, because sometimes we can get out in front of Him. The church now has grown to about 800 people. Agnes is, of course, we started with just the orphanage, and now we have the abandoned babies home. I watched a video just a couple days ago. There was a baby. He did not end up at New Hope. He went. This baby went somewhere else. But some lady had a baby and just dumped him in a plastic bag in a pit latrine. And somebody heard the baby's cries. I don't know how long the baby was there, but the video showed some local authorities. Guys, there's no social services there. None of the stuff that we so much take for granted here in the U.S., it just doesn't exist there. If you're hungry, you'll stay hungry until you find a way to earn some money and buy something to eat. If you're sick, unless you have money to pay for health care, you'll stay sick or pray your way out of it. Just a real different world, and that's all part of going there and experiencing that. You really, whether you're a child or an adult, and I recommend that if you have children that are, I'd say age 13 or older, if you can, take them with you. Round trip airline ticket right now, if you get missionary rates, which will help you do, right now it's about $1,500 round trip. And depending on how long you're going to stay, of course, you want to have some spending money, because your heart's going to just go out to the kids, and you're going to want to buy stuff, and you may even want to go on a safari. You can do that pretty affordably. Spend a night out in the sub-Saharan plains and see animals that you've only seen on Wonderful World of Disney before. So
I've always wanted to have an elephant head to put on my living room wall.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. So, yeah, guys, you can check all of the stuff that I'm showing you on the screen. This website I'm just finishing up for Agnes. It's agneslubega.me. agneslubega.me. And then also...
better spell the last name.
Lubega. You can also go to LoveWorks INT. It's for international. LoveWorks International. LoveWorksINT.org. And there's just a ton of information there. There's contact information. But if you get a hold of me, I'll put you in touch with them, and they'll make sure that you and your group have a safe and rewarding experience. You'll really get to, and again, you'll bring home with you a piece of that experience that you'll never forget. It will change your life. It really will.
Well,
in fact, Agnes is here. Agnes and Little D are here. They've been with us the whole month, and they'll be with us until right after the new year, and then she'll be heading back. And I expect Pastor Chris to come for a visit sometime next year. So anyone in...
Well, I personally have been on a lot of short-term mission trips, and I can tell you, you get a lot more than you give. And
Oh yeah, you go there to be a blessing,
met
but
Pastor
you're
Agnes.
the one that gets blessed. Absolutely.
Yeah, I met Pastor Agnes when she was here in West Palm Beach, and took her to lunch and learned more about what's going on. And folks, Dwayne has done an amazing. I know God did it, but I mean, God works through people, and I'm just grateful that Dwayne was and his wife were obedient, and it's an amazing thing. So if you can help them out in any way, either by going over there or donating money to the orphanage, you'll be blessed. Well, look, we got about half an hour left, and
Okay,
I think
brother.
I can finish up. We started last week,
Okay.
because I won't be back with you till next year. So we were talking about the fact that Americans don't understand money, and this was just an amazing survey that was done of American citizens, adults, all different ages, walks of life, and so on, and the level of ignorance of money and how it works was truly amazing. So here's one of the questions that was asked: what backs the U.S. dollar? 4% of people believe that it was oil. I don't know how that would work, but that's what they believed. 6% believed that like U.S. bonds back the dollar. 7% believe that nothing backs the dollar, which is really the truth.
Somebody finally got it right. Yeah.
Yeah. 24% were clueless. They just, I don't know. It's the dollar. It's money, right? No, it's not money. It's basically paper. Now, this was a shocker. 30% believe that gold backs the U.S. dollar. Now, it used to,
Yeah.
but it
Once upon a
hasn't
time.
since 1933. Yeah. And the fact that so many people still believe that it does, it shows a shocking ignorance on the part of the American people. And then 30% have got it right as far as what the government says. The government says it backs the U.S. dollar. But really, what do you get for it? If you have a $20 bill, used to be you could go to the bank, you get a 1 ounce gold coin for that $20 bill. So it was really backed by gold. And the government had to give that to you. It was written on its contract, an obligation of the government to give you 1 ounce of gold for $20. Today, all they have to do is give you 2 tens or 4 fives or 20 singles. There's no obligation of the government to give you anything of value for your money. So in reality, your money's backed by nothing. Okay. Another question you ask is, do banks hold all your money? Well, here, 52%, more than half, were smart enough to say no. They realized that when you put your money in your bank, the bank doesn't just keep it there, because otherwise how would they pay interest, right? They have to loan it out and so on. But a surprising 27% said yes. I put my money in the bank and it just stays there. I don't know what they imagine the benefit to the bank would be to just put your money there. How do they pay the interest, right? And then 21% were clueless, didn't have any idea whatsoever how that worked. So that leads to the next question. What percentage of your cash deposits do the banks have to hold in reserve? Well, this was interesting. Only 9% got it right. They said it was somewhere between 1% and 10%. 37% thought it was 11 to 50%. I think it'd be great if they would keep 50%. 15% said it was 51 to 76%. And of course, there was the clueless ones. 43% didn't have any idea of how much money the bank had to keep of the money that you deposited. that's kind of scary, folks, because if people don't understand what's happening to money, how can they possibly manage money? We just have an epidemic of financial ignorance in this country. The fact is, the banks are supposed to hold 10% of all of their cash deposits in reserves, and some of the bigger banks are allowed to keep as little as 2 or 3%. But the most any bank has to have is 10%. So that means if there's a run on the bank, if people lose confidence in the dollar, or there's some kind of national emergency, war starts with Russia, or whatever, and people, first thing they want to do is make sure they have money to be able to buy food and gas and so on. So they go down to the bank. Only the first 10% are going to get their money. And then everybody else, the banks just going to lock the doors because they don't have any more cash.
What was the classic movie? It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes.
That was the name of it, right? Where they had the run on the bank.
Yeah, exactly. And the good guy had to calm everybody down and so on.
What was his name? George something. I should watch that movie again. That's a great movie, and I also love the movie Holiday Inn, I think it's called. But anyway, I don't mean to sidetrack you there. Please.
Well, a lot of people watch that It's a Wonderful Life every year at Christmas. It's like a Christmas movie.
It is. I think of it as a Christmas movie.
Feel-good kind of movies. Okay. Now, most Americans, are in financial trouble and don't even realize it in some cases. A lot of people know that they're in trouble, but there are some people that are in trouble and don't even realize it. 64% have never sought financial advice according to this survey. Never asked for anybody to give advice on how to handle their money. 49% believe that financial advisors are not trustworthy. They think they're crooks. They think that, they don't have my best interest at heart. They have their commissions at heart. It's half of America. But 55% of the people 30 to 36 trust financial advisors.
Where do you stand on that? How did you answer that question?
You'll hear my answer on the next slide.
Okay.
The younger people, just in general, half the people don't trust them. But there's a higher level of trust, 55%, amongst, the 30-something. People who are 55 and older, only 4% of them trust financial advisors. Why do you think that would be? In contrast to the younger people.
Why do I ask that question again?
Why do people your age, old guys over 55, have only 4% trust financial advisors, but yet the young people in their 30s, 55% of them trust them? That's 12 times as many people. Why? Why would that be? I think it's because the young people hadn't gotten burned yet.
Well, I was going to say, young people, anybody that was born, let's define young.
Good luck.
Anybody, there was the meltdown, recession, 2007. But for the most part, we've been in a pretty long bull market. Most of the money managers on Wall Street today have never traded a bear market. So,
yeah,
I guess what you said, because they haven't been burned yet. They haven't. Yeah.
But there's a saying that a conservative is a liberal who got mugged, right? by some street punk or whatever, and then they started believing in law and order and so on. So that's what I surmise from that younger people, they hadn't had a chance to get ripped off by some of these financial firms yet. Basically the big principle to remember is paper is pretty much worthless. Even paper gold. People think that, like if they have GLD, that they're buying gold. They don't have gold.
That's just, that, in my opinion, that's just an outright scam. That people are taught that they need to diversify and have a certain amount of their assets in gold. So unwittingly, they go out and do exactly what you just said. They buy into this ETF, GLD, which if they read the prospectus, which no one ever does, but buried in the middle, and one day during a radio show, I brought up the prospectus and I highlighted it out for everybody. It clearly says that they are under no obligation whatsoever to buy not even 1 ounce of gold with your or anybody else's money. It's simply supposed to mirror the price of gold. Doesn't say they got to buy any.
It's a bunch of artfully contrived derivatives. Now, they do own some gold, but just recently they sold $500 billion worth of their gold. So that left them with about $800 billion. But what if they sell another $500 billion? They couldn't even come close if people wanted to redeem and get gold. It'd be like the banks, fractional reserve banking only having that 10%. So, why should all this stuff concern us? I mean, most of the people listen to the show are people that handle their money responsibly. So why do we really care if the rest of the country doesn't? Well, this is why you should care. 78% of the people in this country live paycheck to paycheck. Okay? So if things get bad, I mean, literally, they're one paycheck away in most cases from being homeless.
Right.
So they get laid off, whatever. There's going to be more crime. They're going to come and try and take your stuff. Taxes are going to go higher to pay for them. I mean, it is a concern to all of us, even if we're well off, that there's so many people who are not. But this shocked me, frankly, of people who make $100,000 or more. $100,000 is not a huge salary, but it's substantial. It's $2,000 a week, right? 10% of them live paycheck to paycheck. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware. It's hard to believe, but yeah, I'm aware of the statistic, and I don't think most people are.
Yeah, 57% of Americans don't have $1,000 available to pay for an unexpected emergency. So we're on vacation. We're up in Charlotte. My wife had to go into the hospital, and I had to have the money for a deductible right there, or they wouldn't treat her.
Really? In America? In America?
In America, well, because we weren't in our network and all that garbage.
Okay.
You throw a rod in your car. You have to have your car to get to work. And you find a guy that'll put a used engine in your car for $1,000. But if you don't have $1,000, you're going to be hoofing it to work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's even worse for retired people. Around 10% of retired people, only around 10%, could write a check for $1,000 in an emergency. They're living off their Social Security or whatever. 48% of people don't understand one of the most basic concepts of finance, which is the concept of interest. They don't understand how it works. 42% can't describe what their 401k is. This is what they're going to be living off of in most cases. Pensions have pretty much gone the way of the dodo bird, and 401ks are the way most people put the money away for retirement. They can't describe what it is. 48% don't understand the concept of bankruptcy. 34% don't know how inflation works. If there's one thing that affects your life financially more than anything else, it's inflation. And 34% don't have a clue what it is. 37% admit to accumulating unnecessary debt. You know, the Bible says that debt's not good for you, right?
Right.
Debt kills. But yet, they admit not just to accumulating debt, most people do, but the wise people only do it when they have to. These 37% of people admitted that they accumulated unnecessary debt. And here's probably the scariest solution of all, Dwayne. 67% of millennials get their financial guidance from Twitter and Facebook.
That is frightening.
I mean, that makes me despair of the next generation.
I always tell people, never trust some joker on the internet, and I'm that joker on the internet. You know, do your due diligence. You know, just because I say it, it doesn't mean you should believe it. It means it's a starting point for you to do your own journey of discovery and to determine what's right for you. So, yeah, but what you said, I believe that.
So, what's the solution? That's a rhetorical question. What is the solution? I believe that, number one, Americans need to learn about real money, what real money is. And for 6,000 years, the only real money in the world has been gold and silver. It's the only biblical money, and it's the only money authorized by the Constitution. If America had stuck with the gold standard, like the Constitution required, we wouldn't be having all the problems we've got today. Now, some people come back and say, well, what problems? You know, our economy's doing great. And that's what Trump was talking about last night. By the way, I love that. You know, here they are, all these, I have to be careful what I say here, people that should be in jail, okay, or a mental institution, are having a vote to impeach the president before having the best economy that we've probably ever had in our nation's history, probably the best economy in the world. I mean, Trump can get kind of crazy with the superlatives sometimes, and he says it's the best economy in the world, but it wouldn't surprise me if that wasn't true. I can't think of any example.
I can't think of
any economy.
I can't think of anything better.
Do you realize that we're at full employment right now?
We have more jobs than we have people who are willing to get up off the couch and go work for a living.
Yeah. When you get to 4% unemployment, economists consider that full employment, because everybody that, like you say, that wants a job could have one. The people who are not working are just people that don't want to work. Now, obviously, there's some situations where somebody's got a physical limitations and they have a hard time finding a job that they can do. There's always exceptions. But
and that's why social services should exist. You know, social services isn't there as a cure for laziness. It's to help those who, for whatever reason, physical or mental, aren't capable of working. Yeah, so I support that 100%.
Yeah, and the church has always done that. You got to love Trump. While these people are sitting there thinking they're going to tear him up, you know, going to make him all depressed and angry and make him lose the election, he's out holding a rally, you know, and he's talking about how great our economy is and everything. And it's true. We do have a great, thriving economy. But even in that, tens of millions of Americans are barely surviving, okay? The country's thriving, but some people are just surviving. And why is that? It's ignorance. Okay. If you don't understand how money works, then you're not going to be able to handle money. If you don't understand how a skill cell works, you're going to cut your finger off. You know, if you don't understand how a car works, you're going to crash into a light pole. You have to learn. That's why I've dedicated my whole life to teaching. That's what I do. I teach.
Well, you can't see
and
it,
one of the,
but my screen right now, just the placeholder screen that I have up when I'm not showing charts, says that 9 out of 10 new traders fail. And then it says why, and the answer is no teacher. You know, people fail at things because they haven't been taught how to do it. I mean, if the plumbing goes out in my house, I don't try to fix it myself, not because I'm lazy, but because I don't know how.
right.
You know, I don't want to flood my house. I don't want to make the situation worse. And now, so now I gotta, I gotta weigh, okay, so is it worth me learning how to plumb, right? So I can fix this leaky toilet, or do I just get a plumber? And so, people that want to become traders, it looks simple from the outside, but it's not easy. It can be simple, but only if you have someone to teach you. So I'm just backing up, supporting what you said. You have to be taught. You have to be taught how to do something. I mean, of course, you can teach yourself, but that's a perilous journey. Usually takes a lot of time, a lot of treasure. And, depending upon where you're at in life, you may not have much left of either one. It's a sad
And the way most people learn things these days, they try to learn it themselves, is on YouTube.
Exactly.
Well, you name a subject, and there's somebody willing to teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
How to iron a shirt, how to, catch a pipe or whatever. But on any given subject, I can find dozens of videos that say do it this way, and dozens of other videos that say do it the exact opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to learn online, how do you know which is the best way? So anyway, and again, I say that, but I teach online all the time. I do webinars every Monday night,
Mm-hmm.
but you should see some of the testimonials. Right? I've had people who have degrees, masters in finance and business, MBAs, that tell me to listen to our Monday night webinars for a year. They learn more about money and how it works, and how to keep your money and how to protect yourself from inflation than they did in all their years in graduate school. Because in graduate school, they teach theory. On Monday nights, we teach you how to actually do it. So a return to sound...
A huge difference, yes.
Yeah. A return to sound money is really the only hope for America. We are so in debt that the only thing that will save us from a complete crash is if people start learning about money, start following what the Bible says about it. There's two main things the Bible says we're supposed to do with our money, and they're all right there in Matthew 25. Number one, keep your money safe, and number two, grow it. God doesn't expect us to take what He gives us and just hoard it. Stick it in the bank account, making 1% when inflation is 5%. You're actually losing money. He expects us to take what He's given us and grow it. And this is not in the Bible, but yet it is in 2 Thomas. God will give you as much money as He can trust you with. If He can trust you to be a conduit to do the work of the kingdom, then He'll just keep laying money on you. But if you're going to spend it all on big screen TVs and a fancier car, then I don't think He's going to care that much about giving you that kind of a blessing. So how do you learn? Well, first thing to do is to go to CFRNgold.com. CFRNgold.com. Fill out the little form there. We will send you information by email Not going to come to your house, knock on your front door or anything. We're going to send you the Gold Information Kit, and it's got videos, it's got reports, it's got articles, and you can learn. And the other thing you really should do is get on those Monday night webinars. If you're tied up, you got a Bible study on Monday night, or you work on Monday night or whatever, then watch the videos. They're posted the next day by noon, and start learning. And I don't usually do this, but I will do a little commercial here. And I don't think I've ever done this on this show. Some people are still looking for Christmas presents, and we have, there's been this recent run up, several $100s in gold. We have some really great products that we bought before the run up, and I could legitimately just increase the price of those products by the amount that gold has gone up, and nobody could fault me for it.
Right.
But we decided that through the end of the year, we're going to keep the prices, based on what we paid for these products.
What kind of products are you talking about?
Well, everything from something inexpensive that you can give as a Christmas gift, like a couple $1,000 for a really nice, large, over an ounce gold coin that has some rarity to it, all the way up to one-of-a-kind coins set. We've got a good variety, and through the end of the year, we're going to keep the prices the same as based on what we paid for them. After the first of the year, I think gold's going to keep on going up. So at that point, we're going to reprice everything.
Sure.
But this is a great time to either just to grab a Christmas present. You haven't figured out what to give to your wife. I guarantee you she will not object to getting a beautiful gold coin. But also, this is a good time to get your stash ready for the coming crash, because the coming crash is coming. No doubt in my mind about it.
Yeah. As surely as night follows day, we've had some real good times, and it's just part of the cycle of it's not just how markets work. It's how the world works. It's how life works. Garrett was with us yesterday. Garrett's a longtime friend of the show. He's a money manager. He was on Wall Street all the way back in the 70s, working for Merrill Lynch. He knows a few things, and he talked about the cycle, and every 40 years something bad happens, and every 80 years something really bad happens, and he painted a pretty good picture. So those of you that missed yesterday's show, if you go to youtube.com/CFRN and just fast forward up to the second hour, he shows some charts, and he gives some pretty sound reasoning as to, it's not the end of the world. The sky's not falling. It's just part of the natural cycle. As surely as night follows day and winter follows summer, it's coming. Now, this time, it could be, worse than the last time. We'll see. And I think he might join us again tomorrow. So, but go ahead, Dr. Tom.
Try to tune in for that one.
Please do. In fact, you're welcome to join us if you're not doing anything.
Yeah, I'm. My schedule's lightened up now that we got through the concert. So I'm just sort of getting the house all cleaned up. We're having an after Christmas party on the 27th. Fly on over if you want to. Good food, good music, fire pit.
That sounds very tempting. I'll be there in spirit.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, it's been fun this year.
I really appreciate you being a part of this program, being a part of my life, and I look forward to what the new year holds for both of us, for all of us. And we'll we'll do life together in 2020, just like we did in 2019.
If you get a chance, after the show's over, give me a call, would you? I want to discuss something with you.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be happy to.
And let me just say to all the listeners, Lord bless you. Have a wonderful Christmas and prosperous New Year. But, let me just preach for a second. What everybody believes that Jesus came into the world to save us from the curse of sin. But if you read the Bible, you find out there's two other big curses he came to save us from. And that's the curse of sickness and the curse of poverty. And so I pray for you a prosperous New Year, and that you will use your money and handle your money wisely and glorify the kingdom of God. Give some money to the missionaries.
Amen. Amen.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. So
God bless
right after I
everybody.
sign off,
Bye-bye.
I'll give you a call. Thank you, Dr. Tom. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year. Okie doke. Okie doke. All right, guys, we're going to go to our good word for the day. All right, S&P really starting to creep up just a wee bit. Last night's Concierge Trade Alert was to be long 3207, and we managed to eke out a 2-point gain, 3209 and a quarter. Okay. Okay. Genesis 12:2. I will bless you, I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. Why does God bless us? Sometimes when people speak Christianese, which, well, I won't even go there. How you doing today? Highly blessed and favored of God. It might have been accused the first time you heard it, but anyway, I said I wouldn't go there. Why does God bless us? And what's the whole point? So we can be blessed, right? No, not exactly. That's part of it. He blesses us so that we can be a blessing. God's promised to bless Abraham and make his name great for one reason, so he would be a blessing to others. Jesus taught his disciples to be distributors of blessing and first responders to those in need. That's why he often involved them in the miracle process. He was training them. In Matthew 14:13 through 21, where Jesus fed the 5,000, the miracle of multiplication took place after the bread and fish left the disciples' hands. Jesus was the source. They were the distributors. And God is calling you to be a distributor as well. Sometimes we don't recognize our blessing because it's in seed form. So we arrive at the conclusion, we don't have what it takes. Not so. Jesus said, Mark 4:26, this is what the kingdom of God is like. A man scatters seed on the ground. Night and day, whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows, though the man does not know how. All by itself, the soil produces grain. First the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. As soon as the grain is ripe, he puts the sickle to it, because the harvest has come. Now note the words. The seed sprouts and grows, though the man does not know how. Instead of saying, how could God possibly use me? Become aware and alert to people's needs. You have something God can use because He put it in you. And when He blesses it, you'll be amazed at your potential. The miracle of the loaves and fishes began when someone said, these people need to be fed. That's when the disciples discovered Jesus could use what they had, even though it seemed inadequate. You, my friend, are not inadequate. What God put in you is special. It's unique. Ready to bear good fruit. Find out exactly what it is God wants you to do with the gift He gave you, with the gift He put in you. And let's all get busy being a blessing to somebody, some way, somehow, somewhere. Ask in prayer. He'll show you the way. That's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.